It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantha Tracks TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine indeed. We're back once again with not your weekly recap of all the Star Wars news, but our special recorded episode, because we're busy this weekend. So we're sitting here on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and we're going to talk about the ongoing HasLab, which, if you're watching this on Sunday, has got just under 24 hours to go. And will it make its demand level to get made? Paul, you're a big Hasbro collector. You've collected a lot of the Black Series stuff. Strange project, this one. Looks beautiful. Got a chance to see it in person. It's impressive. It's got nice, unique figures to it. But it doesn't seem to have excited the fan base too much.
No. Hello there, Bright. Yeah, so it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, I must admit, when they were announcing the next HasLab project, I was absolutely convinced it was going to be a sandcrawler. Mainly because they've been doing all this stuff with Tatooine, and most people by now will have either received or are about to receive their cantinas. So to me, a sandcrawler was the obvious choice. It was going to be something that would sit alongside that nicely. You've got multiple areas of Star Wars that it exists in now. It's in Mandalorian. You see it at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. And obviously we've got it in what's about to be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. It will be prominent in the original film. So for me, that's what I thought was coming in. There's a number of people also thought the same. But then I kept hearing mumblings that we were going to get this dropship, the Gunship, from Attack of the Clones. Now, lo and behold, that's what we got. Now, for me, I think the main issue here, we are at the point in time of recording this, Bri, we are around just over 5 days away from it not making its deadline. So it's not going to, for my money, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But for my money, it's not going to get there. So currently, when I last looked, it was 4,345 backers. What have we got on the screen?
So we're at 4347.
Okay.
And that's at 9:30 UK time on the 3rd of September.
And what does it say the countdown is there, Brian?
It is saying that there is 5 days, 7 hours, 22 minutes and 58 seconds to back this project.
So I looked probably an hour ago, and in that hour, 2 more people have come on board. Realistically, this is not going to make the target that it needs to be made.
Yeah. Probably at this juncture, you were probably hoping for around about the 6,500 mark to create that bubble effect where then people start getting interested, and it may happen if we back it.
Yeah. And that's just to get it to 8,000, which is for the actual product itself. Now, for the stretch goals, you need more than that. So the figures that were advertised with it, etc., anything like that, beyond the actual main product, looks like they would be nowhere near reaching that.
Yeah.
So if we analyse it, I mean, in truth, when HasLab was first announced, when they first brought out the Katana, the sail barge, and they said this is what we want to effectively crowdfund, because it is a huge ship, and we've all seen it. It is huge. There was a lot of excitement about it, including myself. Now, I didn't back the project, but I know a lot of people that did, and they've been more than happy with what they got.
Yeah, some of them are just some of what have been produced, not just Star Wars, but HasLab in general. Really beautiful products.
Yeah, there's stuff from Ghostbusters, Transformers, and Marvel. There's all sorts of great stuff that's come out. So there's, in principle, the idea is a good one. It's set there to bring out things that are too expensive to release to the general market, and they are meant to feel a little bit more luxurious, or something special for the fans to get behind. So I get all that, and it is a good idea. Now, when the Katana came out a few years back, that I don't recall having any difficulty in being backed. I think everybody was on board for that. And other successful things have included the Razor Crest, which we've talked about before. Bright, it was quite amusing that ship was destroyed on the screen whilst we were waiting to back that as a toy. But that's by the by. And then after that, we had the success with the Ghost, and more recently with the Cantina, which has just been sent out to people across the world. Now, the thing that is constant with those 4 projects is that they were all something that the like of which had never been made before. There'd never been a sail barge, there'd never been a Ghost, there'd never been a Razor Crest, and you could argue there'd been a Cantina, but we're talking a rubbishy one around the time of the Power of the Force release, and I had the Palatoy one as a kid, which was not dissimilar to the Kenner one that came out in '79. But you can't really compare that to the quality and the beauty of the Cantina that's just come out. Now, the ones that failed, from Star Wars' point of view, the Black Series Rancor. Now, I don't remember many people crying out for a Rancor to be made.
No.
And at the time when it was failing, and let's be honest, that's what was happening, when it was failing to reach its target, it hadn't got the stretch goals with it that people wanted. There was no mention of, certainly initially, a Rancor keeper. I think due to the weight of public opinion, one was brought in towards the end of the opportunity to back it.
No Ula?
Sorry?
No Ula?
And no Ula, no. And again, probably down to the modern thoughts on how Ula dressed. That was why they didn't produce that character. But that would have been great. And also maybe even, and it wouldn't have cost a lot, I would have imagined, to have made it, maybe 3 walls of the actual chamber that Luke fell into, the Rancor pit, essentially. So it needed something to lift it and give it that extra sort of bit of quality. I was surprised it failed as much as it did. I must be honest. I thought it would probably back, but it didn't. I wasn't as surprised when Reva's lightsaber didn't back, because whilst many people enjoyed the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, it wasn't universally well received.
No, it didn't garner a huge audience, and the character of Reva didn't get a huge backing, I would suggest.
No. Reva didn't get the fandom sort of behind her as I think they were expecting, the production company were expecting to happen. So that kind of explains why the Rancor and Reva's lightsaber didn't back. Now with this one, with the gunship, I think it struggled for a number of reasons. Not least because the economy is shocking at the moment, so people haven't got the disposable income that they perhaps had around the time of the Katana. And also, there have been a number of gunships released over the years, from sort of 2000. When did Attack of the Clones come out?
2008 was the movie.
No, 2002 was Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, that was the original cartoon. Then the movie was 2008.
No. I'm talking about the Attack of the Clones film, because Phantom Menace was 99, Attack of the Clones was 2002, and then
I'm thinking the Clone Wars.
2005. Yeah. Yes, sorry, you're thinking of the Clone Wars. Now, there is an excellent version that came out associated with the Clone Wars that's got those beautiful cartoony graphics. It almost looks like an eagle. That's a version that came out. There was certainly a version that came out when Attack of the Clones came out, and there's been a number of reissues and modified releases over the years, probably into the double figures if we're honest. And whilst the one that was proposed as part of HasLab was certainly an enhancement on those, it wasn't significantly different. So it was a tiny bit bigger. It was more scale accurate. But if people had already got that ship, they've got it. It's not one that people are going to rush out and go, oh, I must have that. Let's not forget, and this isn't my opinion because I quite like the film, but Attack of the Clones quite frequently is stated by fans to be their least favourite Star Wars film, even behind The Last Jedi. Imagine that. But you know,
you could have a HasLab. You could have a HasLab. I'm trying to think of The Last Jedi. What would you have from The HasLab? The casino. Canto Bight.
That would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
With just a little horse racing set or something. I'm going to throw a couple of questions at you on this because I'm not a Hasbro collector.
Yeah.
I have less understanding of the market, but I'll give you my thoughts on this.
Okay.
Beautiful product. Incredibly well crafted. Very unique characters that you probably wouldn't otherwise get as a stretch goes. So you can completely understand from a creative standpoint from Hasbro why this ship, why these characters makes perfect sense. But I don't know where the demand is for Attack of the Clones at this juncture in fandom.
It's a strange choice, isn't it?
And so I didn't see the clamber for this actual product at this time. And obviously people are going to be receiving this if it unlocks at more or less the time of the 50th anniversary of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It would thus have made more logic in my head for a 50th anniversary themed product, like you said, like a sandcrawler,
or maybe a section of the Death Star, or something,
Luke's home, something
that would have been good. Luke's homestead would have been
something like that. So Hasbro have this really difficult thing of they can't just make a really great product; they have to have something that catches people's imaginations at that particular point.
Yeah,
and I think, is there an element of conversations happening over a long period of time between what would we like, and by the time it's gotten to the point it's being thought of for this HasLab, it's missed its point in time.
Yeah. And also, you know, like I said at the start of this, I think one of the biggest problems is that people haven't got the pockets that they had a few years back. I think money is a big factor. I think space becomes a big factor. So if it's not something you desperately want, would you sacrifice the amount of space it would take up in your ever-growing collection? Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's only slightly more movie accurate than the versions that have already come out. So if you've got a collection room and you've got one of these mounted on the wall in like a flight position, and you'd look at it and you think, well, to be honest, I'm perfectly happy with what I've got there, and that probably cost at the time £40 or something like that. Are you then going to want to spend more than 10 times that on something that is a slight upgrade when, like you say, you may be your collection room might be the third bedroom in your house, it's the box room, and you're ill fit to have to give that space over to effectively a duplicate.
Yeah. So they've actually got a really difficult task in a way, Hasbro, in terms of what they do for these HasLabs, because it has to be rare enough to justify the high price and rare enough to make it the only way it could ever get made would be through something like a HasLab.
Yes.
Whilst also being able to get enough collectors to want it. So it's that really difficult balance of how do you feel? And you brought up Reva from Obi-Wan. It was a perfect example of that's kind of a punt that character in that series is going to be popular.
Yeah, because that HasLab came out as the series was launching.
Yeah.
So it really was a punt. Yeah.
But you kind of know that Attack of the Clones wasn't the most popular film. And I got mixed up because I was thinking of the Clone Wars cartoon because I've probably seen this ship more in cartoon form than I really... Because all I remember from the film is Yoda's kind of line of, what was it, around the perimeter.
Around the perimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Around the survivors, a perimeter make. Yeah,
Yes, something like that.
And
Yeah,
Padme falling from one.
yeah, and so I can understand it that it's not top of people's wish lists, or it's not the most iconic ship or moment, or
It wouldn't be one if somebody said list your 10 favorite ships from Star Wars. It probably wouldn't even enter your head, would it?
no. But
And that's the thing.
But in the same thing, your probably 10 most popular Star Wars ships probably could get made out with of a HasLab, and that's a difficult a difficult element, isn't it?
It is. But I suppose you could have a set or whatever. You could have like a fleet of TIE fighters.
That's true.
What about a huge Star Destroyer? That would have been fantastic.
See, that kind of thing I can see getting backed.
Yeah.
And so when you start throwing it out there of what's the giant things that would never get made, but that you can imagine people wanting, that's the kind of thing.
Huge. Yeah, where would you store that? I mean, behind the sofa, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's a combination of factors. It's a combination of not being unique enough because there's already been products made. The economic situation that we're facing at the moment, and I don't think some of the stretch goals. If you just scroll down a bit, Brian, to the figures that we're going to be released with it, there's been a lot of criticism about the Jedi that were chosen because one of the more prominent ones that you actually see on board the gunship in Attack of the Clones is Ki-Adi-Mundi, and he's not there. So there's been quite a bit of mumbles about that in the community. Now, the beauty of this is that these three figures, whilst it doesn't look like this is going to back, and therefore the carded versions of these won't be sent out, these figures, the molds can still be used. They'll just use a different card back to what they were going to use. So that is salvageable, shall we say.
Mm-hmm. I guess the difficulty with including Ki-Adi-Mundi in it is that he seems to not know a Sith when he sees a Sith. You know? There's a lot of controversy around that character now. It's like unrecoverable, that character.
We've all got issues.
Yeah.
Another thing that I did think about earlier that I've not mentioned yet as well is in profile. And again, if you scroll down, Brian, I think there's a profile picture of the ship. There you go. There's a big chunk of that ship that is basically a hole. It is the tree ball polo.
That was good. It was just came into my head. It's like buying a polo mint. You're paying for the hole.
You're paying for the hole. You are spending a lot of money on what's essentially a hole. But that's the nature of the design of the ship. So it's a gunship. It's a drop ship. It's the nature of it. But it's it is there. It's a hole. It's sad that it's not made it. I mean, like I said,
we don't know. We don't know.
Well, I'm going to stick my neck out and say that it's not made it. Right. I'm saying that now. If I'm wrong, I apologise. It is highly unlikely at this stage for at least, more or less another half the amount of people that have already backed it to come on board with this.
Yeah.
And
there doesn't seem to be the wave of conversation about the product because I freely admit I'm not a collector, but normally when such things as these HasLabs are going on, there's a general conversation or a buzz around the general Star Wars community about it, and I'm just not seeing the conversation on this.
Not at all, no. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people out there that have said that they're going to back it, and they're showing there as the blue bar at the base of the screen, and they'll be frustrated by the fact that it's not going to make it.
Yeah,
they will be reaching out to friends, and there has been things that have popped up on my Facebook stream of people that are saying, please back this. We desperately need to get it made, but if it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And I agree with what you just said. I don't think there's been the weight behind it that's come from fandom in the past. I don't remember there ever being a problem with the katana. I think Ghost, I think there was a few people that were sort of pushing for people to keep going for the stretch goals to get the figures. And I think the Ghost made everything. Cantina not quite made it to all the stretch goals. I think there was one figure that was advertised, the Wolfman looking figure from the original film, didn't quite make it. But yeah, this one just doesn't feel the same. I think, and again, I think a big part of that is down to the economy. I don't think people have got the disposable income.
If this one fails, does Hasbro need to do something different for the next one, or think differently, or is it just a case of okay, they're trying, it's up to the fan. This really is just what a HasLab is. It's up to the fans to decide, do we want it, do we not? So is it really a failure from Hasbro, or is this just we are truly testing the water, things that wouldn't ordinarily got made? We've kind of justified the reason it's not getting made because there's not the big enough demand for it, and it's finding that very niche point where there is enough demand to make this, but it's not commercially viable in terms of a standard store release.
Well, I think if they looked at the 6 big Star Wars HasLabs, the 2 that didn't make it and the 4 that did, I would be looking at the 4 that did make it, the Sail Barge, the Razor Crest, the Ghost, and the Cantina, and I'd be saying, what have they got in common? And the common thing that they've got is they were large-scale products that hadn't previously been available. The Cantina, very loosely, but certainly not realistic like this one. And then I'd look at the ones that didn't make it, the Rancor and Reaver. Now, the Rancor was for a different scale of figures, so all the ones that have been successful have been for the Vintage Collection. The Black Series, which is obviously a larger scale, to have something that... To do a ship would have been probably impractical because the scale of the figure, so they came out with the Rancor. So I get the sense of that. I think it is unlikely, and this is only my opinion, it is unlikely that they'll return to that scale. So the scale that works is the Vintage Collection, which is your 3 3/4 inch, similar to what we had as kids back in the late 70s and early 80s. That scale, tick, that's what you want. You want something that either hasn't been released before or has been released but it was nowhere near as good as what this is. Tick. And I don't think the props thing works either. The Reaver lightsaber, if that had been a Luke Skywalker lightsaber, I don't think it would have made it to production.
Do they need to look, instead of looking towards the original and prequel trilogy, do they need to refresh this, look at the sequel trilogy, look at the younger element of the fan base instead of us older collectors? Do they need to look at what's happening in the TV? Could for example an Arcana 5 set, that would something be cool, like that. I mean, something that's really catches the imagination, like No Way Out has as a phrase has completely caught the imagination of fans. That set
would be quite cool, wouldn't it?
That set I think would create a bit of a buzz across generations of fans and be slightly different. Do they need to look less what would be an impressive ship to make and more what's more of a cultural phenomenon and has that more likely to create this buzz to get these projects over?
You say that, but I mean, two of the ones that have been successful, the Ghost was from a...
See, but I kind of think the Ghost is kind of modern, younger fans.
Yeah, but when people were first backing that, I don't think we'd seen the live action version of the Ghost at that stage. So
no, I think you're probably right.
So the majority of the people that would have backed that would have been from the animated part of fandom.
Yeah,
and
weirdos.
The Razor Crest, the Razor Crest, and the Razor Crest hadn't really existed much in.
No, that's true.
In Star Wars at the point that it did well, but people got so quickly behind the Mandalorian. That was quite a joyous time for Disney Plus viewers. The first 2 seasons of Mandalorian were fantastic. Third, not so much, but hey, you can't hit home runs every time. But so 4 successes, 2 failures, and 1 that looks to me like it's not going to make it again. So that'll be 3 failures against 4 wins. Now, does that mean that they won't make a Star Wars HasLab in the future? I don't think they'll completely draw a line under it and say that's it, but they will need to certainly have more consideration as to what they're going to produce. Going back to your question, should they stick with the original trilogy for the older fans such as ourselves, or should they go for something newer? It's a tricky one, isn't it? I personally, I think they ought to keep supporting the Tatooine campaign. For me, the Sandcrawler was an obvious choice. That could have had so much content in it, and you as like a bonus version of it, as a super version, if you like. Put a motor in it, give it a remote control.
Yeah, and it's not just a New Hope fans when it comes to Sandcrawler, because it's reappeared in the Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett type.
Yeah, so
eras as well.
A number of things now. So yeah, and obviously to have one of the enhanced sales things of it could have been sort of a pack of 10, 15 Jawas, whatever, you know. There was all sorts of stretch goals. That's the word I was after. All sorts of stretch goals that would have been obvious with that. Some droids. It would have been an absolutely easy one to make, and I guarantee. I would bet my left arm on that one funding. That one would have made it.
Yeah.
Because, like you just said, it's appeared in so many different things now.
I kind of have issues with the whole idea of these kind of Kickstarter-esque projects coming from major companies. I don't think that's a factor, though. I think that's just my personal taste. And I say that because as a literature collector, we currently have something similar in the literature community, obviously with Dark Horse Comics and their upcoming, literally as a Kickstarter project for a Star Wars manga art book. And it literally would never get made as a commercial product, and it would only ever get made as a backed project. So I don't know if that's a factor anymore. I know a lot of people generally don't like the concept of these things, but I think people that are invested in the product are kind of more relaxed about paying for something in a significant time frame before they actually receive it. Now, I don't think that's as big a factor anymore. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I genuinely do feel sorry for the people that have, already pledged to back it, and it doesn't look like it's going to be made on this occasion. So for them, I do feel sorry, because they were probably very keen to see this cross the line. I can see a place in the market for it. So I think HasLab as an idea isn't a bad idea. It's just some of the choices haven't perhaps been the best choices in terms of products. So I would have personally liked to have seen something. I don't know. I mean, that's the big trick, isn't it? What do you choose as the project? I mean,
we've got one new backer, by the way.
Oh, see, I've talked them in.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some fantastic versions of the Millennium Falcon over the year, but it's not to scale.
Yeah.
Even like the more recent Millennium Falcon that came out, the one that everybody absolutely loves and is on the secondary market worth upwards, £1,000 upwards. If they brought a scaled version of the Falcon out, it would cost so much money. I just don't think it would get backed. So it's finding that sweet spot about what people can actually afford, but also what they want.
Yeah.
What do you choose?
Yeah, that's very true. It's a difficult one. As we sit here on Wednesday evening, it doesn't feel like it's going to back.
No.
This will be going out on Sunday night. It'll be interesting to see where it is then. It kind of needs to find some kind of momentum so people start having this, starts creating a bubble of a conversation over the next few days, and I'm not sure it's going to. I
don't think there's even like retail outlets or specialist collectors that would be willing to back, say, 10 units or 20 units to help it
No.
to help it reach that target, because I think they worried that they wouldn't get
And
the
I think
money
that
back.
was probably the case when you look back to the sail barge. I think you probably find there was a lot of people prepared to buy multiples, and especially because there was complications to do with the distribution back then as well. People realised I can back multiples because I'm not going to have a problem selling them on. It's difficult. It's difficult. I can understand Hasbro's position and making this one. Just feels like the timing of it was kind of off, and it just has never created the buzz. I don't know if it's the fact that it was launched with Star Wars Celebration Japan, where obviously a very well attended convention, but absent a huge chunk of people who may ordinarily have gone to one if it was in Europe or if it was in America, that would have then seen the product in person, because it always helps
That's a good point.
to see something in person.
Yeah.
It's difficult, Paul. It's difficult.
Yeah. I think, like you say, it would have benefited perhaps from having 2 or 3 that were, one sent to the UK so that people could go and actually see it. Get some sites like Fanta Tracks and other prominent sites to actually see it properly and review it properly. And to my knowledge, I don't think that actually happened, did it, Brian? I don't think we've got a proper talk about it. No. So, yeah, there's been issues. I don't, at this stage, 5 days out, I can't see it crossing the line.
No.
If it does, you lucky people. But you're not going to get your stretch goals, so you're not going to get those Jedi. Fingers crossed that if they return to HasLab in the near future, and I'm sure they will, that they come up with something that hasn't previously been available, or is such an enhancement on things that have been out in the past that it's a must-have. And that really, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it sums it up. Whatever way it falls, we'll be back live on September the 14th, and we'll undoubtedly will be speaking about the conclusion of this project and whether it succeeded or failed. So if you're backing it, good luck. I hope you're able to convince some more of your fellow fans to join you. It is a beautiful product, comes at a price, and I'm not sure the demand's there. But sad times if it doesn't reach its goal, Paul.
There's no winners in this, is there? No winners.
We're all just losers in life. And on that note, what a wonderful way to wrap up the show. And so it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from him. Bye.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at Fantha Tracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow Fantha Tracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.